All right, you've joined us for a daily vibe casting edition of the Deep Dive, where we're giving you a super quick rundown of what's popping on X right now.
Yeah, like blink and you'll miss it updates. We're just chasing the real-time trends here.
Exactly. Today, the feed is, well, it's all over the place. We've got some head-scratching math, global trade stuff, viral moments, celebrity news flashes, all guided by what's hot right now. Ready for the rapid-fire version?
Absolutely. It's like trying to catch lightning in a bottle, isn't it? Seeing what grabs everyone's attention at this very moment.
Okay, kicking things off, Andrew Yang just posted something that, well, it makes you go, huh, he says. If something goes down 10% and then up 10%, are you back where you started? No, because the decrease is from a bigger number, e.g. 110, 1090 plus 9 is 99.
Right.
So let's break this down real quick.
Yeah.
That initial drop, 100 down to 90,
Okay.
but then a 10% jump from 90 is only 9.
Uh-huh.
Lands you at 99.
Yeah, exactly. It's that whole thing where, percentages of different spot on. And what's interesting is how this, simple math thing can actually have pretty big real-world effects, especially in finance.
Oh, for sure.
People often look at percentage gains and losses and think they just cancel out. But like Yang points out, they don't always work that way because the starting number keeps changing.
Right. And it's not just like a silly mistake. There's actually a cognitive bias involved here, isn't there? Something called anchoring.
Yeah, anchoring. That first number, the 100 in his example, it kind of sticks in your head.
Yeah, huh?
And that makes it harder to, accurately judge the next percentage change off the new number. So Yang's quick tweet actually, it shines a light on how our brains can sometimes mislead us with numbers. Exactly. It just highlights that our gut feeling about percentages can be a bit shaky sometimes, and why you really got to look at the actual figures underneath.
Good point. All right, total 180 now. Bill Ackman is weighing in on global economics with this tweet. He says, time is not China's friend. Every U.S. company that sources products in China is in the process of finding alternative suppliers. Supply chains are time-consuming and can be expensive and challenging to move. Once moved, they are sticky. TikTok.
Ooh, that TikTok at the end. Adds some drama.
It really does. Gives it a sense of urgency.
So what Ackman's highlighting here is this kind of momentum behind U.S. companies looking for suppliers outside of China. He's saying it's not just talk, it's happening now.
Yeah, an active process.
Driven by, trade tensions, tariffs, all that geopolitical uncertainty. And crucially, once those supply chains are set up somewhere new, he argues they're hard to shift again. They get sticky.
And there are numbers that seem to back this up, right? I think I saw something from the U.S. Census Bureau.
Yeah, showing like a 15% drop in U.S. imports from China since 2018. That's pretty significant in just a few years.
It really is.
And like Ackman says, these moves, they tend to stick. Companies invest in new factories, new relationships, often in places like Southeast Asia. There was actually a report, I think Supply Chain Brain mentioned this, about increased U.S. sourcing from that region.
Right.
The cost and the sheer effort involved, it makes these changes fairly permanent once they're made.
It definitely feeds into this bigger conversation about economic decoupling. The U.S. and China may be becoming less tangled up economically. Though, if I remember right, Ackman himself has had some, let's say, varied opinions on tariffs in the past.
That's a really crucial point. His view right now emphasizes diversifying supply chains, sure. But he, like a lot of people, has previously raised concerns about the downsides of tariffs for American businesses, consumers.
Yeah.
It just shows how complex these economic issues are. Lots of different angles.
Okay, sticking with Ackman for a sec, his next tweet really caught my eye. He wrote, "This was brilliantly executed by @RealDonaldTrump, textbook, Art of the Deal." Wow, strong words.
They really are. This tweet from April 9th, so just yesterday, right? It's a very clear thumbs up for what Ackman sees as a smart move by Trump. And yeah, referencing the art of the deal.
Interesting, especially given, like you said, maybe some earlier criticisms of trade policies from him.
Exactly. And the art of the deal, I mean, that book is famous for its, aggressive negotiation tactics, let's say.
Right. Huge bestseller. Though there was always chatter about, who really wrote it and how accurate it all was.
Indeed. And the timing of Ackman's praise is significant. Apparently, on that same day, April 9th, tariffs on Chinese imports jumped way, way up to 125%, according to reports.
Whoa, 125%.
Yeah. And not surprisingly, China apparently fired back, hiking tariffs on U.S. goods by 84%.
Wow. Talk about a tit-for-tat situation escalating fast. And the market reaction that day was something else, wasn't it? I remember seeing headlines about a big jump in the Dow.
Yeah, there were reports of a really substantial gain in the Dow Jones, something like 2,963 points. Big number. But It's worth noting there were also some unconfirmed rumors floating around about possible, let's call them irregularities in the stock market around then.
Okay.
It just highlights how these massive policy shifts can stir up a lot of market activity and, scrutiny too.
And for Ackman, I mean, he's known as an activist investor, right? Doesn't really hold back. For him to endorse Trump's approach so strongly, that's definitely noteworthy.
It is. It suggests he sees a strategic win in these latest moves, despite maybe some earlier reservations or, potential for short-term disruption.
Yeah, his focus is probably on the outcome, the bigger picture he sees now.
Seems likely.
Yeah.
His background suggests that kind of result-oriented thinking.
All right, let's shift gears completely. We've got a tweet here from Arno. Students get SuperGrok from Link for free for 2 months when you sign up with a .edu email. Good luck with finals. Stay in school salute emoji or apply to Link. A little something for the students listening.
Yeah, pretty straightforward offer here. SuperGrok, that's a premium AI service from xAI.
Right, Elon Musk's AI venture.
Exactly. And Arno, who seems connected, is offering this 2-month free trial if you sign up with the university email. Makes sense with finals coming up, right? Aimed at helping with studying, research.
Yeah, apparently SuperGrok has some cool features like enhanced reasoning and deep search. Sounds like it could actually be pretty useful for cramming.
Could be. And notice the tweet also drops a link to job openings at xAI.
Ah, clever.
Yeah, so it's like help students now, maybe recruit them later. Fits with xAI's whole mission of accelerating scientific discovery.
Smart move, but hang on, looks like there might be a catch for some people. I saw in the replies some users were saying they couldn't access it everywhere.
That's an important heads up. It looks like SuperGrok's availability might be limited geographically right now.
Okay.
According to xAI's own docs, it seems to be mainly in places like Australia, Canada, India. So, great deal if you're there, but maybe not accessible for everyone just yet.
Good to know. Okay, switching gears again, this time to celebrity and sports land. Cristiano Ronaldo tweeted, "Coming soon, Link." Very mysterious.
It is, but the link clears it up a bit. Looks like Cristiano Ronaldo is teaming up with film director Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn, Kingsman director.
That's the one. They're launching a new film studio together called You Are Marv. The idea is apparently to merge sports and filmmaking.
Interesting combo.
Yeah, creating innovative action movies using advanced tech. That's the pitch.
Well, Ronaldo's a massive global brand, and Vaughn definitely knows action movies. Could be a powerhouse pairing.
Absolutely. Vaughn's got Kick-Ass, the Kingsman films.
Right.
Strong track record. And it sounds like You Are Marv isn't just an idea. Reports from yesterday suggest they've already finished 2 action films.
Wow.
Already? Yeah, and a third one's apparently in development, part of a series. They're moving fast.
Seriously. And this isn't Ronaldo's first venture into media, is it? Didn't he launch a YouTube channel?
Correct. You Are Cristiano started last year, 2024. And he's also reportedly invested in a media group called Media Leave. So yeah, this film studio seems like a pretty natural next step for him.
Makes sense. Okay, from global superstars to a much nichier corner of the internet, online dance critiques. Someone tweeted, "Very easy to explain. Her movements are anchored at the shoulder instead of the hip." And this is apparently about a dance video in Thread 1.
Yeah, this is a really specific take on dance technique. The person tweeting is saying a dancer looks stiff because their movement starts from the shoulders, not the hips.
Ah, okay, so the hips are supposed to be the engine in a lot of dance styles.
Generally, yeah. Hips and pelvis are often seen as the core, the powerhouse. Initiating from the shoulders, this person argues, makes it look less fluid.
Interesting. Sort of like the movement is coming from higher up, not flowing from the center.
Exactly. They even mentioned this idea of a triangle of stability with the shoulders at the top, which kind of limits expression compared to when the pelvis drives the motion. There's actually dance research on muscles like the iliopsoas and how key they are for coordinating that pelvic movement.
So this isn't just some random comment. There's actual biomechanics behind this kind of critique.
Right. It's offering a technical, physical explanation for why the dance looks the way it does, maybe compared to other interpretations in that thread. Shows how much detail goes into analyzing movement.
Fascinating. Okay, back to Cristiano Ronaldo. His social media team is definitely earning their keep. Another post. "Home isn't just a place, it's wherever adventure takes us. Gio and I brought the Aoria spirit home. But the real journey is just getting started. Excited to release our first ever campaign together with Aoria Cruises now sailing across the Mediterranean, from the Red Sea to Link." Sounds like another promotion.
It is. This one's for Aeroia Cruises. Looks like a luxury cruise line that started in the Red Sea area, Arabian Gulf, and now they're expanding into the Mediterranean.
And Gio is Georgina Rodriguez, his partner.
Yeah, that's right. So this is their first ever campaign together for the cruise line. A jet-setting life, indeed.
Totally. The context also mentions something interesting about the image in the tweet. A holographic ring.
Yeah, apparently the visual shows a holographic ring being projected from a smartphone. Pretty flashy.
Definitely high-tech for a cruise ad.
Suggests they're using some advanced advertising tech. And funny enough, there was some research, Journal of Advertising Research, I think just last year, saying holograms really do grab consumer attention more effectively. So maybe it works.
Clever. And the context also touched on those ongoing rumors.
Yeah.
About Ronaldo and Rodriguez maybe having tied the knot.
Yeah, those rumors have been around for a while. Some reports last year suggested they might have gotten married secretly.
Right.
So if they are married, it certainly fits neatly with this whole shared adventures theme of the cruise campaign, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, let's circle back one more time to Bill Ackman and his thoughts on Trump's trade strategy. He tweeted, "The benefit of @real Donald Trump's approach is that we now understand who are our preferred trading partners and who the problems are. China has shown themselves to be a bad actor. Our counterparties also have a taste of what life is like if they don't take down their trade barriers."
So here, Ackman's kind of doubling down on his support. He's arguing that tariffs aren't just punitive, they're strategic. They help clarify who the reliable partners are.
Uh-huh.
And they put pressure on countries seen as bad actors, like China, in his view, engaging in unfair practices.
And he points to that 34% tariff China is facing specifically for those practices. That's a hefty number.
It is. And Ackman also notes that Trump's approach gives other countries a sort of warning shot. Lower your own barriers, or you might face something similar. He even mentions that reported 90-day pause on tariffs for allies.
Right, suggesting a window for negotiation?
Exactly. And this actually ties into legislation, the United States Reciprocal Trade Act, which gives the president power to make those kinds of adjustments.
So in Ackman's telling, it's all part of a calculated plan, but we should remember this is all happening within the big picture of the ongoing trade war. Yeah.
Absolutely. China has its own retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. It's a really complex back-and-forth situation. Ackman's view is just one perspective on a very complicated global stage.
Gotcha. Okay, now for a tweet that's less global finance, more maybe general angst about math skills. John Pollins posted, "We are cooked.link." And the link goes right back to that Andrew Yang tweet about the 10% up, 10% down thing.
We are cooked. That's a strong reaction. Collins seems genuinely alarmed by what he sees as a really common misunderstanding of basic math.
Yeah, he seems to think this lack of basic math literacy is a pretty bad sign.
The context mentioned someone named Greg who was apparently confused by Yang's example. It seems Collins is using that confusion as proof of a wider problem. Like, if people can't grasp this simple concept.
What else are they missing, right?
Exactly. It touches on that worry about quantitative reasoning, understanding data in general. Math education research actually points to these kinds of basic conceptual errors being big hurdles later on.
And the context also kind of nudged towards broader debates about education policy, something about the White House maybe wanting less federal oversight.
Yeah, it seems for some people, this kind of basic math confusion is seen as a symptom of bigger systemic issues in how education is handled. Raises questions about how effectively we're teaching core concepts.
Okay, let's lighten the mood. Time for something a bit heartwarming. A post from @TradingMaxSSL just says, "Parents one link." And the link is to a wedding picture.
Yeah, this is a really sweet one. The picture shows a couple, looks like the groom's parents, at a wedding ceremony, and the caption is, "When all eyes are on the bride, but your son is the groom."
Oh, that hits you right there. You can just imagine their feeling the focus on their son in that huge moment.
It really captures that specific emotional experience for the groom's parents, doesn't it? So much attention is naturally on the bride, but this photo zooms in on their pride and love for their son. Wedding websites always talk about the parents' roles, helping out and stuff, but this is just about that pure personal feeling.
It's a lovely reminder that weddings are about families connecting, all those big emotions.
Totally. That universal parental pride thing that maybe gets a bit overshadowed sometimes.
Okay, now for a blast from Wall Street's chaotic past. A post from @HistoryandMemes. The real-life Wolf of Wall Street using his world-famous sales tactics link.
Jordan Belfort, the wolf himself. The link probably shows him doing his thing, demonstrating those super high-pressure sales techniques that made him infamous.
And, you know, eventually got him convicted for stock manipulation back in the day.
Right, back in the 90s. He's definitely a character. His story, the real one and the movie, is pretty wild.
And after prison, he sort of reinvented himself as a motivational speaker, didn't he? Teaching sales methods.
That's right. He teaches his straight line system now, claims it's ethical. But yeah, that history as a penny stock fraudster definitely hangs over him. The Post likely captures some of that intense persuasive energy he was known for.
Yeah, the context even mentioned his supposed ability to sell Tic Tacs. That really sums up that kind of charismatic, maybe borderline manipulative approach.
It does. It's a fascinating story, maybe a cautionary one too, about ambition, persuasion, and where the lines are in business and sales.
Okay, shifting back to politics again. We've got a really strong opinion here from Stephen Miller. You have been watching the greatest economic master strategy from an American president in history. That is quite the claim.
It is indeed. Stephen Miller, obviously a key figure in the Trump administration, is giving a glowing review of the former president's economic policies. Given this was posted yesterday, he's almost certainly talking about those recent tariff changes.
Yeah, the pause for most countries, but the big hike on China.
Exactly. And Miller was known for his strong views, especially on trade and nationalism. So this kind of forceful endorsement fits his track record.
Definitely sounds like him.
Absolutely. Consistent advocate for that kind of approach. But, we should probably note that calling it the greatest in history is, well, subjective.
Right, it's an opinion.
And the context mentioned that while some U.S. stocks did rise initially, the overall S&P 500 was actually down, and small businesses were reporting feeling squeezed by costs after the tariff news.
So, likely a more mixed picture than just greatest ever.
Probably. It just shows how polarized these discussions can get, right? Strong claims are made, sometimes without acknowledging all the complexities or downsides.
Fair point. Okay, now for some celebrity news, but with a kind of worrying vibe. Lionel Media posted, "Justin Bieber is not long for this world. What a tragedy." Link.
That sounds really dramatic.
It really does. The link apparently shows Justin Bieber having a heated exchange with paparazzi. He seems really frustrated with them constantly following him, trying to profit off him. This was supposedly filmed outside an LA coffee shop yesterday.
Yeah, he does look pretty stressed and disheveled in the clip.
Yeah.
And the context mentioned he'd recently posted on social media about dealing with anger issues and mental health stuff.
Right.
That's right. Around the same time, there were reports about his posts discussing working through anger. Given how long he's been famous since he was so young.
Yeah, since he was a kid.
That level of constant attention must be incredibly difficult to handle.
Can't even imagine it. The context even brought up research about how constant public scrutiny impacts celebrities' mental health.
Yeah, APA research suggests that lack of privacy, the constant judgment, it can seriously increase stress and anxiety. So while that tweet is worded very dramatically,
Maybe overly so.
perhaps, but it does tap into a real concern people might have for his well-being, seeing that video and knowing about his recent posts.
Yeah, hope he's okay. Okay, let's pivot to something different. Culturally contrasting. A post from @Rothmas with just a thumbs up emoji and a link. The linked content is described as a cartoon comparing Western transgender identity with Thailand's ladyboy culture.
Right, this seems to be a meme trying to draw a line between how transgender identity is seen or expressed in the West versus in Thailand. The cartoon apparently shows a more, maybe assertive Western trans identity compared to a softer image associated with ladyboys, or Kathoi in Thailand.
Okay, and Kathoi, the context mentioned that term has historical roots in Thailand. It refers to transgender women, but also sometimes effeminate gay men.
Precisely. It's a specific cultural category there. And interestingly, the estimated number of Kathois in Thailand is significantly higher than the global averages for transgender people.
Wow.
So the post seems to be playing on a stereotype, maybe a more confrontational Western approach versus a more accepted, less confrontational Kathoi identity in Thailand. Though it's crucial to remember these are stereotypes, right?
Absolutely. Generalizations.
And the context did note that Thai society is actually showing increasing acceptance of diverse gender identities these days.
It's a good reminder that gender and identity aren't understood the same way everywhere. Culture shapes it so much.
Totally. And memes like this, while they might spark a conversation, can also really oversimplify things and lean heavily on those stereotypes.
Okay, now for a bit of international perspective, maybe with a side of trolling, a meme shared by @AtomMedia. The Chinese made another American reindustrialization meme laughing emoji link.
Ah, yeah. This post is sharing a meme that apparently came from Chinese social media, and it's taking a pretty satirical shot at American efforts to bring manufacturing back.
Okay, what's the meme show?
It reportedly depicts overweight Americans kind of clumsily assembling Nike shoes in a factory. There's a Make America Strong Again banner, plus Coca-Cola and chips scattered around.
Ouch. That is
The me-
direct. Definitely playing hard on some negative stereotypes of American workers.
It really is.
Yeah.
Using those stereotypes to basically mock the whole idea of the U.S. successfully reindustrializing on a large scale. Yeah. And using Nike, Coke, the Make America Great Again slogan, very recognizable symbols.
Yeah, MGO obviously associated with Trump, but has older roots too.
Right. So the meme really reflects a certain narrative you might see from China, questioning U.S. economic plans, especially with the trade tensions. And it taps into the reality of China's current dominance in global manufacturing. The stats on that are pretty stark.
Yeah, the context mentioned the World Bank data showing a big gap.
Exactly. So this meme is kind of flexing that muscle, expressing skepticism about America's ability to catch up in that area.
Got it. Finally, we're ending on something unexpected and kind of funny. A post from @Americamimed. So LinkedIn does have its uses.link, and the link goes to a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, this is great. It's an example of internet humor bleeding into the most, professional of platforms. The link is apparently a screenshot of a LinkedIn profile for someone named Anna Reeve, who's listed as an aspiring paramedic.
Okay, normal so far.
But the funny part is, her profile has been edited, maybe her headline or summary, so it syncs up with the na-na-na lyrics from Pearl Jam's song, Even Flow.
Wait, what? Seriously, her LinkedIn profile just says na-na-na.
That seems to be the joke. Replies to the post apparently confirm it's a meme. Someone even mentioned watching it without sound, which makes you think it might even be an animated GIF, like her profile text is moving along with the song.
That is definitely not the intended use of LinkedIn. Hilarious.
It's such a random, funny collision of worlds, right? Professional networking meets grunge rock meme culture.
It just proves the internet will find a way to be weird and funny absolutely everywhere. Who knew LinkedIn could be so grunge?
Exactly. A good reminder that even in the most buttoned-up online spaces, there's always room for a bit of creative silliness.
And there you have it, a super rapid-fire look at just some of what was trending and buzzing on X today. Wow. From confusing math and big trade fights to dance critiques and, yes, Pearl Jam memes on LinkedIn, it's a constant flood.
It really is. Even these quick hits give you a sense of the sheer variety of conversations happening all at once right now.
Totally. If any of these caught your attention, definitely dive into the original post, check out the replies, see the conversation unfold.
Yeah, it really highlights the speed and just the range of topics that grab our collective attention online these days.
For sure. And on that note, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? In this absolute whirlwind of digital updates scrolling past us constantly, what actually manages to grab your attention and make you pause, even just for a second? Something to think about. Thanks for keeping up with the Deep Dives Daily Videcasting today.